Yes, and we can hear you.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So I really apologize for starting the session late. I really did not foresee my day going the way it had gone, but nevertheless, we shall just begin. So we'll just go straight ahead to the introductions. Um, and I would like maybe Okeli, you can start. You can introduce yourself. Then we can go to Kevin and finally Cheryl. Then I will as well introduce myself. So Kelly, you can open the floor for us.
Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is Kelly Kinuthia. I am Miss Autism Kenya 2018. I am glad to be part of this forum, and I look forward to an engaging conversation and creation of awareness on how best we can include persons living with disabilities. Thank you.
Thank you, Kelly. Kevin can follow
I'm,
suit.
I'm Satatu Dennis from KU. Pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Cheryl.
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Shari Lokumo. I am the co-founder of NetClass and project coordinator. Very glad to have you guys take your time to join us and be a part of this, and looking forward to this and many more delightful sessions.
Okay, thanks guys for the introduction. So I'm Magero Ann. I am a law student at the Kenya School of Law, and I am also a volunteer with NetPlus Kenya. So again, for this evening, the topic is inclusion and access for persons differently abled. At least I'm thankful that the panelists we have for today directly relate with the topic. So without further ado, we'll just go straight to the discussion. And generally speaking, maybe we can start with Kelly again. What does inclusion and access for persons with disabilities look like? When we hear the word inclusion, what exactly are we talking about? Lost Kelly. Okay, so Kevin, I'll just repeat the question for you. What does inclusion and access for persons with disabilities look like in terms of explaining further the topic? Exactly does it mean for you?
Okay, thank you so much. Once more, um, I'm Satatu Dennis, and when we talk about the inclusion and accessibility for persons living with disability or PWD, here we are talking about the environment that can accommodate, the environment that can give that persons living with disability a full concentration or a full ability for him or her to concentrate or participate or take part in the daily activities. For example, here when we talk of inclusion, we are talking about the for example the infrastructures, the buildings, for example the employment, education sectors, the medical sectors. Here we are talking about the different sectors that if they can be modified, if they can be made in such a way that can accommodate these people, can give chance to these persons living with disabilities, for them to participate, for them to take part. I think that's what it means by the word inclusion and accessibility. And by the way, there is no way we can talk about the accessibility if there is no inclusion.
Thank you so much for that response. And just a follow-up question for that. Speaking on, you've mentioned inclusion touching on various aspects for individuals living with disabilities. So now
Yeah.
narrowing down the question further in terms of education, we now have CBC. So what is your view on CBC and education for persons with disabilities? Now, more specifically looking at children, obviously, do you feel that that form of education system has incorporated children living with disabilities in, and sorry, let me just add more to that. Does it achieve adequate and basic education for children with disabilities?
Thank you so much, Anne. And before we talk about the CBC, first and foremost, let's talk about the integration. Has the government, does the government really care for these persons living with disability? And more specifically, in the regular sectors, for example, if there is a class, is that a class that can accommodate this person living with disability? Can that class has can that class has a RAM that can enable that person who normally use a wheelchair, that person who normally use a crutch a clutch for him or her to enter into that class. Talk about the desks. Can the desk accommodate this person? Can can the environment that the school has accommodate this person living with disability? For the CBC to succeed, for the current or for the new proposed curriculum, for it to succeed, there must be an integration. And the integration cannot, sorry, the CBC cannot succeed if the integration itself is yet to succeed in those schools. Okay, fine. The new curriculum gives the learner a chance for him or her to take part in the activities where him or where him or sorry, the new curriculum gives a chance these learners with the different abilities as far as the learning is concerned. If he or she has a talent in music, can participate in music. If he or she has a talent in games or games and sporting, can take his or her full concentration in that particular side. But first and foremost, the integration in those schools must take place.
Kevin, are you still there, or you are done with your point?
I'm there. I'm done with
Oh,
my explanations.
okay. So now, Kelly, welcome back. Kelly, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Um, I hope you've just been able to get a hang of what Satatu has said. What I posed to him was the education system in terms of incorporating children with living with disabilities, more specifically the CBC. Has it taken into consideration children living with disabilities? And I like what Satatu has said in terms of integration, that okay, maybe in a way it may have accommodated them, but there's still more which can be done. And now my question to you is, what is that exactly which can be done? Now deviating from education, but now generally in terms of inclusion spaces for persons with disabilities. What more can government do? What more can NGOs do? What more can civil society groups do to include persons with disabilities?
Okay, the question is for me, Anne.
Yes, it is for you.
Okay, so I'll say first and foremost, before we even think about what other organizations or other bodies could do, it's more what could persons with disabilities do? Because again, if we just put it that it's only the government, it's only the NGOs that have a part to play in this, then we will be so wrong. So it's what persons with disabilities could do and how best they could stand out so that they are also noticed by these other bodies. In terms of what can the society do, it's more of ending stigma, ending shaming of persons with disabilities, and also including them in everything they do, knowing that yes, they are differently abled, but that does not mean that they are disabled. They can do something else better than what you can do. So it's appreciating their differences and knowing that uh, give them a chance. If we are having a community thing where we are, for example, cleaning the estate, let them clean as well. They want to feel included. They don't want to feel like you're treating them like they cannot be able to clean. Also, for the government, it's just to enhance whatever they have written, for example, in the constitution, having more leaders. Identifying persons with disabilities and empowering them so that they're able to showcase their different abilities. Most of the times, when you talk about empowerment, people always view it as it's all about money. And I think it's not about the money, it's about the opportunities that you give these people. Uh, for example, the Constitution makes it clear that persons with disabilities should be treated with dignity and respect, and also they should access education institutions and facilities, and also reasonable access to all places, whether public transport and information. I'll give an example. For example, I use the train in the morning, and there's this section that is set up for like persons with disabilities where they can sit, and there's also a space where they can put their wheelchair, or in case they have any special equipment that they have to go with. But then again, you just find people there, people who are, they're okay, but they're there seated unapologetically. But then again, you see, you really can't force people to do what you want them to do. You can just show them that they need to appreciate persons living with disabilities. And this is when now the government could come in. If the government was strict in that part of the train, that if you don't have a disability, then you cannot occupy that space, then it could make people with persons with disabilities feel more included, and they'll feel that they're more appreciated, and also they have a segregated space. So I'll say that the government should empower persons with disabilities, and not financially only. It's by exposing them to opportunities, giving them opportunities, and also enabling them to also represent the country maybe in different areas of leadership, because these people are able, only that they're able in a different way. So also for institutions, I feel that institutions should make should make places or spaces that are more disability friendly, in a way that everyone feels included. Not that you go to an institution and you find they only have staircases, they don't have rails for persons with disabilities. So I think it's more of, if we create more awareness, and if persons with disabilities as well refuse to be pressed down, they're able to come up and say, this is how we are, this is what we can do. If we all do that, we will all be in a better position to empower persons living with disabilities. And that way we will achieve a great society that knows that despises no one, and that there's no stigma going around or any shaming. Yes, I think that's what I have to say.
That is such an elaborate response, and I like about persons with disabilities learning to take initiative to address their own needs. And so now my follow-up question will be, in what ways can you advise persons living with disabilities to own their space? Because now, I mean, we cannot, again, the way you've just said, we cannot rely on the government on everything. Sometimes we have to learn and take initiative. So in what ways can these people own their space? And secondly, are there any initiatives which you know owned by or run by persons living with disabilities? Yeah, maybe you could answer those two.
Okay, so when you talk about what ways persons with disabilities can own their space, first of all is boosting their confidence level. If, for example, let's say I'm selling something. If I don't show confidence in what I'm selling, then you as a buyer won't have confidence in what I'm selling. But if I'm so confident and so sure about what I'm selling, then you as a buyer, you'll have that confidence. You'll carry that confidence with you even when you're purchasing something from me. Same case applies. We all have to be confident, first of all. Secondly, don't let anyone despise you. Don't let anyone maybe say something wrong to you, and you just let them go get away with it. It's good to tell them, no, you didn't please me because you said this and this. Next time, say this and this. It's all about calling out people who do the wrong things, especially who maybe could come off as insulting to persons living with disabilities. The same thing, if you believe that you have a different ability and you're ready to show it to the world, even if they don't adapt at that point, at some point they will have to accept what you do, and they will start appreciating the difference in you. So it's all about being confident, uh, believing in yourself, and being able to put yourself out there. You don't have to be a celebrity for you to own your space. You only have to show the people around you that, yes, I'm differently abled, and you should not treat me any less because I'm differently abled. Same thing, I can do this and this. Even if I cannot be able, for example, to reach for something up there, I can help down here. So it's all about placing yourself where you best fit. uh, if someone, for example, you go to an event, you find, for example, there are people who are deaf and there's no assigned language person, maybe you could suggest to the organizers of the event, maybe next time include this and this. And that is how you create your own space, slowly by slowly. And at the end of it all, you find that people now are adapting cultures that are accommodating everyone. So creating our own spaces doesn't come from any outside force. It's all about us. If we rise and if we say, you know what, I as Kelly, I'm differently able in this way, then it's time you guys respected me and this is what I can do. And then another person comes up like that, like that, like that. You'll find that we have created a very strong foundation and we have changed the mindset of the society. The society now knows, even a small child knows, oh, she's differently abled and she can do this and this. But now, most of the times, you find that the society is like, no, that person, she can't do this and this. You find that they focus on what someone cannot do instead of what you can do. And so it's upon each and every one of us to show the society what you can do and what you're capable of, and showing them that you don't have any doubt in terms of what you could achieve. And at the end of it all, even if they may not support you instantly, trust me, with time they'll keep getting better and better, and they'll keep now wanting to know how can we plug in. And now this is where the same place where now the institutions will start noticing you, they'll start noticing what you're doing, they'll start noticing that you're confident, and slowly by slowly you find that you boomed and you bloomed in whatever you're doing. So about that's all I'll say about creating your own space. Yes.
Thank you, Kelly. Now, Satatu, just listening to what Kelly has already said in terms of learning to boost your confidence, learning to, just being very bold and accepting yourself as you are, so that life can move on for you as a person living with disability. Now, my question is, well, that's very good, a very good insight into dealing with the issue. But now I'm wondering, where has society gone wrong in terms of addressing the needs of persons with disabilities? Because we cannot have everybody being Miss Autism like Kelly. We cannot have everybody learning to grow their self-esteem, learning to grow their confidence, as others have already done. So in a way, we also need the help of society to create this environment for persons living with disabilities. So where did we go wrong simply as society in taking care of persons with disabilities in terms of cushioning them against issues like stigma? Where did we fall short?
Uh, and it is sometimes it is very important to put in mind that in the society that we exist, majority of these people, what they normally can concentrate on, what they normally put their energy is disability on us instead of seeing disability in us. And it is very sometimes interesting. You will find that most of them, they cannot even understand what disability mean. They cannot even mean what this simple saying and proverb mean, that disability is not inability. For example, the attitude they have on us can can uh, can detect, can even explain what they have on us, what they feel on us, and what even they think on us. For example, uh, there is what we call social support. For these people, according to them, as much as sorry, the moment they will discover that there is a disability that exists on you, taking part in social activities, automatically you will be isolated. You will not be allowed even to take part and show your ability, that you can do this, you can even do that. What they see you as a person who cannot manage, who cannot even bring a benefit, bring even a change in a society. So the the social support from the community is very low. And when there is a low social support from the community around us, from the society that we are living, then there is no way we can be given a platform. There is no way we can be given a chance to show our ability, to show our interest, where we can also participate and take part in the activities that can bring change in the world that we are existing today. And let me tell you, Anne, uh, the more they continue to exclude us from the things that we can participate, that we can even take part in, the more some of us who already know their rights, who already know their their abilities, uh, will continue showing these people that even though you shortlisted us, even though you did not given us a chance to participate in the activities that you people who consider themselves as not having disability, we have also a way that we can show our ability uh, without even your efforts. And there is one thing that normally drives me. The moment you discover yourself that you have ability in something, kindly go ahead and do it. And that that is what has been driving me all along. I remember very well when I was in class 2. So at that particular time, I was going to, sorry, I had started an academic journey without a wheelchair. The distance from my home, from where I was staying to school daily, people will start perceiving me as a person who cannot do anything. People will start talking very negative things about me, saying a lot of words that hurts a lot. But to me, I said it. I viewed it as a thing that cannot even hinder uh, my attitude that I have towards education, and that is what has enabled me to be where I am today. Thank you so much, Anne.
Thank you, Kelly. I mean, sorry, Satatu, and I admire what how your attitude towards everything. I mean, clearly we are living in a very harsh society, and I'm trying to imagine how harsh it can be for persons with disabilities, and that is such a beautiful attitude and spirit to live by. And so, still on you, Satatu, and now shifting focus to legislation, the existing laws we have in our country, and more so even the ones governing persons with disabilities internationally. Do you think that, and now speaking from a point of view being a special needs educator and an advocate for persons with disabilities, do you think that these laws or policies have adequately solved the problem of inclusion and access for persons with disabilities? Have they, in a way, addressed the problem? Mhm.
Thank you so much, Anne. Currently, the constitution, in the constitution, there is what we call this act, the act by the name, sorry, there's an act which that is in our current constitution, the 203 Act. This act speaks very well that a person living with disability has rights for education, has rights for everything. And at the same time, this act directs us, persons who are living with a disability, to form a council that will represent us, a council for us, persons living with disability, for us to be registered, for us to be recognized by the law. So there is what we call National Council for Persons Living with Disability. And truly speaking, I'm a registered member. I have their card, and whenever I want to apply for anything, I will have to acquire for a form, attach everything that actually speaks up, that states about me, states about my nature of disability. And through this council, you will find that for anything to be done for you, you have to attach that ID. You have to attach the medical cover, the medical assessment report. So to me, I will say that actually the Constitution has given us a chance, and also the legislation in place has actually tried, in one way, has tried to solve some problems, because you will find that now through the formation of the National Council for Persons with Disability, there's a recommendation that in every elective posts, there must, in every political parties, there must be a representation for persons living with disability. So you will find that even in the employment sectors, there is what we call 5% for employment, for employing persons living with disability. And whenever there is anything that the government is offering, like tenders, like projects that with the disabilities, whereby in every opportunity there is a recognition, in every sector there is a recognition, like the one that I have given you, the employing 5%, by ensuring that there is an employment of 5% for persons living with disability. There's a slot in the National Assembly, in the county assemblies, in the Senate. So currently the institution, the Constitution has given different institutions a chance whereby the persons living with disability are being recognized, are being given a chance, and in that way there is some way of solving the problems and the challenges that have been existing for a long time.
Okay, Kevin, thank you for that. And now, still building up on what Satatu has already said, Kelly, in terms of employment, um, clearly there are laid down policies and rules guiding matters employment for persons with disabilities, and guided us on the 5% allocation. Well, is this really practical in terms of persons living with disabilities searching for employment? Is there a success rate? Like, is that 5% allocation actually practical, or is it just, some theoretical aspect of the rules? How practical is that?
Okay, so I'll say more companies are trying to adapt that. I'll say we're not there yet, but more companies are trying to include persons living with disabilities in terms of their workforce. Recently, I actually loved, for example, I'll mention Safaricom. Safaricom put up a billboard of someone who is living with albinism, and I felt nice seeing such, because now they're focusing, they're shifting the mentality that only people who are not differently abled could appear in adverts or could be employed. So I'll say that companies are now shifting, and they are appreciating that the differences in these people are not um, are not in any way bad. They're only different in a nice way, and they need to be out there for them, for everyone to know that yes, they can also do what you can do. So I think the key is to ensure that everyone is okay, just a minute, my line of thought is just interfered with. Okay, yeah, so key is to ensure that most companies are now including persons living with disabilities and treating them normally, not treating them in any, in any special way that they will feel that maybe they're not being fully accommodated, or maybe they're being treated so specially that they feel that other people are being treated nicely. So I'll say we're not there yet, but companies are trying, and I'll encourage all companies to include persons living with disabilities in everything they do, because these people have different ideas, and these people are just like us, only that they're differently abled. So we are not there yet, but let's keep trying. Let's keep creating awareness, and hoping that people in top positions will realize the importance of including persons living with disabilities. Yes.
Okay, finally for you, Kelly, as we wind up, um, is access to information for persons with disabilities. For instance, now that we've mentioned, there's actually a 5% allocation for persons with disabilities when it comes to employment. There's just a lot of information around persons living with disabilities. Do you think there's adequate access to information for them? Kelly, maybe you could take that question.
Yes, I can hear you. So I'll say persons with disabilities have the information, only that most of the times people hold back from actually stepping up, and it's not their fault. It's I wouldn't point a finger at anything that will cause that, but I'll say that yes, they have information, yes, they know they're supposed to be included, and most of the times what lacks is the courage to actually go for it. And this is just an encouragement to persons living with disabilities. Go for it. It might not make sense right now, especially when you're starting small. But if I do my part from where I am, another person does their part, another person does their part. When we meet together, that will be a force that we are a force to reckon with. So I'll say that for now, we have the information, but then again, the courage to take up the information and actually implement it is where sometimes we lack or we fall short in. So just to encourage them, it's go for it. It might not make sense right now, but just go for it. Also celebrate yourself. You don't need anyone's validation. You know, you are capable in your different areas in every capacity. So just go for it. And you don't need the world to recognize you. You just need the society around you to embrace your abilities and embrace it, and embrace that you're different and appreciate you for your difference. So for me, I'll say that. And in as much as they know, in as much as persons with disabilities have this information, it's time to take it by the storm. Like, go hard for what you believe in, because the moment you do that, uh you're able to, even if you might fall, it's there's a famous quote that goes, aim for the sky, even if you fall, you'll still be above. It's the same thing. I'll say, aim for the sky and aim as high as you can, and even if you don't get there, you'll get nearer to that place. So that's all I'll say.
Thank you, Kelly. Then now finally, Satatu. Um, we can have this discussion about matters affecting PWDs. We can suggest ideas, we can suggest simply what else can be done. So for you, what do you think way forward to further the conversation on inclusion and access for persons with disabilities?
Kindly come up again.
Okay, so my question is, in addition to what has already been discussed, in addition to all the suggestions and deliberations we've already had for this conversation, so what do you think can be done? What is the way forward in order to further the conversation of inclusion and access for PWDs?
Thank you so much for that question. First and foremost is to continue inviting those persons living with disability, and even you can also invite those without disability, and for a fact, all of us have disabilities, but what what makes us different is the degree of severity. So on that, for us to further this conversation and even make more, and even to make it more interesting, try to come up with a way, with a way that you can invite so and so that that has disability, and that person that has no disability. And I think you can post, for example, that will give us a platform to even get some kind of perception that these people without disability normally have on us. So, for example, you can invite Satatu, and you invite Fred, and let's say Fred has no disability, and now Satatu will have a chance to ask Fred, do you feel sympathy, or do you feel something on me, on me that can even change your attitude towards me, than concentrating on the ability that I might be having.
Oh, okay. So we would like to end the session at that. I mean, it's clearly a conversation which cannot end. It's a wide topic. There are many suggestions and initiatives which can come from this conversation. But I guess for me, my take home will to the final statements that Tatu has given in terms of just trying to interact more with PWDs and know where they're coming from. So I think that is my take home, and to just encourage persons living with disabilities. So now I would just like to hand over to Cheryl
And
to
and
yes.
just a request. And whenever there is such kind of conversation, please don't forget Satatu. I'm so interested in this.
I will remember that.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Satatu, and thank you so much, Kelly, for joining us this evening. It was indeed such a pleasure to have you, and I've personally never interacted on such a level. So for me, it was also a learning experience, and I'm grateful for it. So continue inspiring others. It's very encouraging to hear from you guys. So
Thank you.
Cheryl, if you're there, maybe
I am
we'll
here.
end. Okay, we'll now carry on.
Thank you so much. We started really rocky, but that was an amazing session. It was such a blessing to hear the insights that you guys had to offer from your own experiences to the things that you've been able to acquire from your interactions. Thank you so much for enabling us to gain that knowledge. And we believe knowledge is the first step. Now you have to get out there and be able to put it into practice. Thank you so much, Anne, for pushing yourself out of your comfort zone and being bold enough to do this. I was in a session earlier and the theme was stepping out into greatness and basically just encouraging us. It was for women, but just across the board that in the areas where we have previously been put down because of the things that society has deemed mundane or substandard, we're pushing ourselves out of that cocoon of being, because I'm female, I can't do this. Because I'm young, I can't do this. Because I'm differently abled, I can't do this. And today the message is just to remind us again and again that we can all step into greatness because God has gifted each and every one of us, regardless of our age, of our gender, of the things that make us differently abled. So thank you so much for being a reinforcer of that message and for just being able to take your time and share with us, all of you across the board, including Anne, for just being able to put this together and give us insight into inclusion and access. So just to wind up, thank you, Satatu, for showing interest in these conversations. We'll definitely be doing them the last Saturday of every month. We'll work on how to go about security so that more people can join in the conversation. And the whole goal is just to continue advocating. And then the way you can do advocacy is by talking about it so that we can all be change makers on the ground. It's really hard to change what you don't know. So the idea for us is just to create that knowledge, to open people's minds to the realities on the ground and how we can all actively make a difference in whatever capacity. So once more, thank you all so much. On behalf of Radiators and NetPlus, the representative for Radiators was in the other meeting, but they were joining us by spirit. So thank you so much, guys. We'll close with a word of prayer and then we'll reconvene next time. So let's pray. Dear Lord, we come before your presence this time. Want to give you thanks and to glorify your name for the session that we've had, for all that you've been able to acquire, for the networks that you've made, for the insights that you've gotten. We believe and trust that all of them were inspired by you. And we thank you for Kelly, we thank you for Kevin, we thank you for Anne. Pray that you may bless them in all their endeavors, that even as they continue to be change makers on the ground, that you'll guide and direct them. We love you and we thank you and we glorify your name. For it is in Jesus' name I believe and pray. Amen.
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 Thank you
Very
so
true.
much, Cheryl, for the opportunity. I'm sincerely grateful.